Mr. Ali.
Good morning to you. How are you, Mr. Chairman? Thank you.
I'm good, Alhamdulillah, and thank you. I think we are having a problem with Mr. Dominic. Is it okay? We ask you to start your session. I'll introduce you and then you can start, please. Mr. Ali Ashoor is the acting director of Electricity and Water Conservation Directorate in the Electricity and Water Authority, Kingdom of Bahrain. And he has vast experience in energy efficiency. For nearly 20 years experience he's having in energy efficiency. He's also the president of National Committee for Electricity and Energy Standards. If you remember, there was no energy labeling for domestic appliances in Bahrain previously. He spearheaded this particular campaign wherein you can see certain labels in Bahrain, wherein you have ratings up to 6 stars. He's also the president of IEC National Commission, Kingdom of Bahrain. He's the chairman of Arab Energy Efficiency Task Team, Cairo. And he is quite a well-known personality in the GCC as well as the Arab region. He has an MBA education from DePaul University, and he has a BSc in Electrical Engineering from King Fahd University of Petroleum and Minerals, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. With these introductory remarks, I will hand over the mic to Mr. Ali. Mr. Ali, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm very pleased to join you today in this esteemed conference. And let me start by extending the congratulations for the organizer for this excellent organization of this forum. And okay, sorry, I'm starting the video. Can you see the video now?
We can see the presentation.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so, and let me first start by extending my gratitude for inviting me to this forum. And my presentation, I don't know, it's slow, it's not moving. So I'll work this way. So my presentation is about the EWA Energy Efficiency Action Plan. So let me first say that this plan, or EWA's version of the NEAP, was prepared under the His Excellency Dr. Abdul Hussein bin Mirza. He was actually the minister at that time that is responsible about EWA. And when we were working on this plan during the years 2013 to 2014, we were made it like a roadmap for the energy efficiency or electricity efficiency actually for EWA. And later when the Sustainable Energy Authority have launched its the National Energy Efficiency Action Plan for Kingdom of Bahrain, this plan became like a portion of the overall National Energy Efficiency Action Plan. So basically, I'll start by giving a brief introduction. I'll summarize the plan, review the performance that you have reached so far, and I'll conclude with some results and thoughts about the overall plan. So let me first, to put you into perspective about the measures that you have selected for this plan, let me first start by some statistics. Now, you can see here in this screen, two charts. One of them is about the consumption profile sector-wise. As you can see, or you are probably aware that the domestic sector is or the residential sector in Kingdom of Bahrain is the highest consumers. It's about 45%, and as you know, it's heavily subsidized in Bahrain, up to 90%. So this was a major hurdle for the implementation of the measures of the plan. We have also the commercial and the institutional sectors. The institution is around 10%, but it's merged within the commercial sector. And we have the industrial sector, the smaller part, which is around 15%. In the right-hand side, you can see another chart that shows the profile of the consumption in terms of the electrical loads. Now, as you are probably guessing, the cooling load is the highest, consuming almost 50% of the electricity produced by EWA, and followed by the motive power, lighting, refrigerations, and others. So I would like you to keep this in mind when looking into the constituents of the plan, as this profile what dictated the measures that we have selected, and it represented the direction for it. I'd like to show you also this historical electricity demand for EWA, which is, as you know, the sole utility that provides electricity and water services in Kingdom of Bahrain. Now, I have only restricted this data for the years from 2000 to 2015 only. I will show you later the second part of this, or a complete chart for this graph later. And I have here indicated the relationship between the GDP and the electricity throughout the chart. And as you know, a very good indicator about the energy efficiency in any country is the GDP, the status of the GDP. Now, this is not a very good picture that we were proud about, as you can see that while Bahrain's GDP was have grown for around 183% throughout those 15 years, the electricity demand has grown for around 118%, which is very high. Now, that is, not a very good picture here. Basically, here the electricity demand was growing in Bahrain during this period at a pace of like 5 to 10%. It was reaching more than 10% sometimes. So what is the energy efficiency action plan for EWA? It was basically a 5-year plan. It was a roadmap to improve energy efficiency, or the, let's say, the electrical energy supplied by EWA, and it was prepared for the years 2015 to 2020. And as I have said before, it was basically cascaded from Bahrain's overall NIAB that was published by the Sustainable Energy Authority. At that time, it was called SEU. And it was prepared according to the Arab guidelines. And the Arab guidelines was prepared in 2010. I was honored to chair the committee that prepared this guideline, and it was ratified by the Arab Ministerial Council in November 2010. It consisted, our plan, it consisted of basically 8 measures in energy conservation or electricity conservation measures. And we have coordinated, of course, this plan throughout the implementation with the SEA unit or authority, and we were, through several committees, we were involved in the implementation along with the SEA authority. Now, the baseline that we have used is basically we followed the same framework as I told you for the Arab guidelines. Basically, according to this guideline, we'll have to take the previous 5 years, and it happened to be around 13,734 gigawatt hour. The growth used is also the average previous 5 years, and it was 7%. The indicative target, we have, as we needed to calculate the indicative target based on the majors that we have selected, and I have, as I have said, that we have 8 majors. I'll come to detailing them in a few minutes. And we have used a bottom-up approach. Basically, we go over each major and assess the potential for energy saving. And we summed them, and we came up with a target which is 19%. Now, this target, I remember our colleagues in the Sustainable Energy Authority, and I remember even His Excellency Dr. Abdul Hussein Mirza was telling me, "Are you sure about this target? This is way ambitious." So I'll show you later whether we were like overconfident about that or not. So this was an ambitious actually target, but I'll show you the result later. So these are the 8 majors. We have basically implemented all the majors except for the last major. So it was dedicated, it was basically about Bahrain Energy Efficiency Code. We were working in it, but because of some changes, Mr. Chairman, he mentioned already the unified code. We worked on that one, and it was one of the suggestions that before going into the energy efficiency code, we need to create a building code in Bahrain. So that was created, and later the Sustainable Energy Authority opted to choose the Green Building Code, and we fully supported that. So we have crossed this last major. However, the 7th major, we have rolled them all in a very successful way. So, and as you can see, they are, mostly dedicated for the buildings. And as you know, in Bahrain particularly, electrical energy is consumed mostly in buildings, and it's almost 80% of electrical energy is consumed within buildings in Bahrain. And of course, we have lots of different loads, but overall, it's almost in building. Now, we have distributed the majors according to the sectors that I have shown you at the beginning. The first 2 majors are for the thermal installation code. Basically, we were putting the MIPS for the building envelope, and we were trying to minimize the heat flow through the building envelope, since, as you know, almost, as I have indicated earlier, that almost 50% of the electricity is consumed by the for cooling the load within buildings. We have, I will go over these in some of them in details, but let me just highlight some of the majors here. Like, for example, the phasing out of the lamps, of the incandescent lamps, and this was like one of the low-hanging fruits in Bahrain. And you might be asking me why we have selected these majors. We have selected them basically because of certain criteria. One of most important criteria for the selection is their impact. And what I mean by their impact is how fast and how the potential for the electricity saving in Kingdom of Bahrain. And as you know, why fast is very important, because the time here is like gold. The more you delayed the implementation of the energy efficiency major, we are going to lose. It's a wasted energy. Let me, so this is just a highlight of some of the majors that I have mentioned. For example, this is about the buildings, And although we have selected only the 8 majors or 7 majors that I have indicated, there were like supporting majors going along with the main majors. And there, like for example, we have program for water efficiency and reduction of non-revenue water. And as you know, in Bahrain now, in many countries, they produce electricity from water. In Bahrain, we have here the opposite. In the GCC region, actually, we produce water from electricity, which is, a sad fact, but that's reality. So let me give you some, briefly about some of these majors. The thermal installation code, in most of the majors that I have mentioned, we went into phases. We did not go all at once. And it started long time ago. And we think this is the, perfect recipe for a success of any major that we launch in Bahrain. We have to go into phases. We accompanied that with lots of training and lots of awareness, campaigns. For example, we started with the thermal installation code. We couldn't start without, mobilizing the market, without making sure that we have, thermal installation material available, without there is companies, the qualified personnel, all of these issues. So we started in year 2000, actually, a long time ago, and we were one of the first countries to launch this program. And we started for the commercial building only. In 2013, we widened the scope to include all buildings in Bahrain. And recently, in 2019, we improved the mix. And we added, also additional items. So basically, we were controlling the walls, basically the U value, the heat flow through the walls, and it was the MIPS was set at 0.75 watt per meter square degree centigrade, but later improved in 2019 recently to 0.57, almost 30%. For the roof, we started by 0.6 and we ended in 2019 to 0.3. We controlled also the glaze services. We were controlling also the area, the U value, the shading coefficient, the light transmission. And finally, in 2019, we have introduced also the cool roofing properties. We mandated that each building, the roof only, it has to meet a reflectance of at least 0.65 and emittance of at least 0.75. And we have aligned ourselves also with the fact that we have exempted buildings that use rooftop PV panels from this requirement. This is
Mr. Ali, if I can interrupt you for a minute. I'm sorry to interrupt you. We are running, I think we are overshooting. If you can conclude in 5 minutes, please.
No problem. I'll conclude in 5 minutes. No worry. Okay. So this is the air conditioning regulation. We started also in phases. It was published in 2015, implemented in stages first for the labeling and then for the MIPS in 2016. And in 2018, it was supposed to be in July 2017, we go to the next stage. Basically, it's more strict MIPS, but it was delayed based on a request of vendors and manufacturers to 2018. And we are now working on another version to optimize this regulation in a better way. This is just the announcement that was published at that time. And I just wanted to say that all of these measures wouldn't be possible without the collaboration with so many stakeholders in Kingdom of Bahrain, such as the Custom and the Ministry of Industry and Commerce, and as well as the Sustainable Energy Authority. This is the regulation for the non-directional lamps, and we were one of the first countries also in the region to phase out incandescent lamps. And the regulation here contains efficacy requirements, functionary requirements. So it wasn't only, dedicated for efficiency only. We were also concerned about other, items such as the uh, uh, lamp survival factor, lumen maintenance, and others, product information requirements for the consumer. In addition to the other parameters that are important for market surveillance, which we partnered with the Ministry of Industry and Commerce to make sure that compliance and enforcement of the regulation is in place. This is more important than just setting the regulation. And the outcome of all of this, basically, we have improved in the last 5 years during the implementation of this, NEAP. We have improved the building performance, the thermal performance on building or the building envelope itself by 30% by improving the MIPS. And we have also by phasing out incandescent lamps, the inefficient one, which most of them, as most of the energy consumed in lamps, is wasted as heat. So we have improved the efficiency essentially by 90%. In air conditioning, when we done the survey before implementing the air conditioning the regulation, the energy efficiency ratio was an average at around 5. Now we are in the market, we are having easily above 12, 13, 14, and 15. So the energy efficiency for air conditioner has increased tremendously. Now this is the chart that I have shown you at the beginning, and I am showing you here the complete picture after the implementation of the EWA energy efficiency plan. And as you can see, we have managed to shift the chart from big growth during the last 15 years into almost constant. So basically our consumption now, energy consumption in EWA is almost the same as 5 years ago. We kept it almost at the same level. The saving, as I told you at the beginning, our target was 19%. We managed to exceed it overwhelmingly and reach 31%. These are just the, this was the business as usual. We were supposed to consume 25,730, and I believe His Excellency Dr. Abdel Hussein, he mentioned this in his keynote speech about the master plan. So we were, our business as usual, where we were supposed to consume around 25,730 gigawatt hour, and this was our plan target, and we managed to reduce it to 17,661 gigawatt hour. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ali, for the excellent presentation. I think you had given an excellent overview of energy efficiency action plan in Bahrain. I think what you have shown in your last slide, wherein the growth rate has been tapered. So that is an excellent achievement. And we will take the questions in the end. May I welcome Mr.